This is The Firing Line, sponsored by Bullseye Sports in Riverside, Nemesis Arms, the makers of the Vanquish Rifle, Andrew Phillips Financial Services Redlands, and Blue Dot Safes. The Firing Line. Here's your host, Philip Naiman.
I like smoking lightning. Heavy metal thunder.
Hello folks, welcome to Firing Line Radio Show. This is Philip Naiman, your host here on another beautiful Saturday in the great state of California, occupied California. We have not made it to free America yet, but from occupied California, we're still broadcasting here, and I just love the wintertime in Southern California, if you can call it winter. In studio with me today, I have two guests. One gentleman who knows a lot about winter is Brian from Southern California Guided Hunts, a transplant here from Nebraska. You got to be happy you didn't have 23 feet of snow to shovel to get over here today, right?
Yeah, that's right. You know, but every now and then it's nice to head up to the mountain, you know, call a coyote, get a little bobcat coming in the snow. But
that's what snow's for. Snow is exactly for that.
Yeah, you know, I go up when I want. I don't have to go up every single day, and I don't have to scoop snow. So that's the best part.
You know, and in California, you know, obviously we have some issues in the government side, but at least we know to keep the snow on the mountains where it belongs. So snow goes on the mountains, and everything's fine. Also in studio with me today, I have Jim Matthews. Jim Matthews from Outdoors News.
Well, so it's good to be here.
I'm really looking forward to all of your information on that. Now, Jim has a long background in the media business with outdoor writing and began writing in 1980.
Before that, actually, I actually started my business in 1980 when I was working at the Sun here in San Bernardino. I actually quit and started a syndicated outdoor package that's been in as many as 15 of the local papers in Southern California.
So very good. And we're going to get into a lot more about that coming up here. But first off, I always like to go through the calendar of events of what we have going on, so you can make sure that if you haven't found something to do on a Saturday afternoon yet, you still have time to get out there. Number one, today, the 5th and 6th, is the Crossroads of the West Gun Show. So that's at Ontario Convention Center. Crossroads of the West, we gave out 24 tickets on our Facebook page. Facebook? That's right. Firing Line Radio Show on Facebook. The GAR promotion, if you like it coming forward. So I can't officially say that if you like it coming forward. So I can't officially say that, but you should go there and like it anyway, because it's going to be a good deal. Also, January 6th through 10th, the guys from Falcon, Hollywood, and Voodoo, they're doing the Costa Ludus Carbine course. This is out at Prado. And this is where Chris Costa, who we had on the show last week, is going to actually be teaching some high-end techniques for working with the carbine. And it's high energy, lots of rounds fired, great course. That's the 6th through the 10th. January 19th, Atlas Firearms. That's the one that I'm going to be putting on. A beginning women's firearms course. Just the basics. Getting from I'm afraid of guns to I'm shooting the center out of a bullseye in 4 hours or less. I'm going to be doing that over at Rahagi. So again, you can find out more about that on the Firing Lines Radio Show book. January radio show page. January 21st, 22nd, our friend Brian Poor, who runs Premier Rifle Academy, he's going to be doing his level 1 rifleman's course again. Now, I went and audited the course in December. We had an absolute great time. I had a couple of friends that I've hunted with came out there with me, and I just have to thank Brian that he has helped their shooting so much. So I won't have to listen to this guy bellyache about the elk at 300 yards he missed next year. We'll just be he should have his stuff squared away. So
there'll be steaks in the freezer.
There should have been, and now there will be. So it's a great course, and if you've never had instruction on proper shooting technique, this guy was a scout sniper. He was a big game guide in Alaska, scout sniper instructor. He's still a SWAT sniper instructor out of one of the LA cities. He knows bolt action rifles, and so it's a great great course if you've never been shown that. And you know, oftentimes I talk about some of these courses and taking them and so forth, but the idea is go find out what somebody else knows. You know, Jim, you've been shooting for how many years?
Oh, I don't know. I'm 59, so I guess that would be 58 and a half years.
58 and a half. Do you think if you spent an afternoon with somebody like Dan Carlisle?
Oh, it has helped. Well, they all give up on me after a period of time, but I've had great instruction over the years, and it helps everybody around me. But I think I'm hopeless. They always laugh. I had some great instruction from a shotgun shooter by the name of Nick Sisley. He's a longtime writer, and he's one of the finest shotgunners I've ever seen. And he finally looked at me and said, I really think you're hopeless. And he said, let me teach these other guys.
He said, have you ever considered golf?
Yeah. He said, the ammunition companies love you, don't they? I said, yes, they do.
So the point is, when you go out there, just keep an open mind, learn the new techniques. You know, you may have been doing something one way and maybe it works great. Maybe there's another way to do it. So I think it's great ideas to go out there and I only recommend courses with good people. So, you know, they're easy to get along with, very knowledgeable. It's a lot of fun. Jen.
But doesn't he also, because his course kind of gets your heart racing, correct? From the pictures I've seen you doing, there's some action shots, stuff like that moving around. I mean, doing SoCal guided hunts, I mean, when you get that coyote or bob, that also benefits for when you go out hunting, that you've had this little bit of training to where you can get your heart racing, figure out how to shoot under pressure, because ultimately when you go out hunting, you're going to be under pressure.
You're absolutely right. The heart rate's going to be up. And he does have some different courses where he makes you move, change positions, you run 100 yards and take out 3 more targets and move on. And it's designed specifically for that because bench practice can get you so far. Basically, bench practice is good for sighting in your gun.
Yeah.
You know, learning the fundamentals of trigger technique. But field practice is what makes you a good shot. And so you're right on that, Brian.
That's correct.
We're always right.
Correct. Okay, so January 26th and 27th with Five Arrows Tactical Training, we're going to take the lever action training course. This is a lever action self-defense course. Now, I talked with Darren, who runs Five Arrows Tactical, about this a while back. I thought it was just going to be interesting, right? That'd be interesting. But if you really think about what could happen in the legal system right now, folks, with semi-automatics under fire, the next best way for home defense could very well be a lever action 38, 357, 44 Magnum, 4570 if you're in a bad neighborhood. But how else could you have multiple if they make semi-autos illegal? So this is something to think about. And I think Darren's been thinking ahead on this is, you know, a lever action like a Henry's or a Puma or one of those Marlins, even 38, 357 Magnums.
Now the Winchesters are back. Yeah,
that's a lot of firepower and a good way to learn how to shoot those. So we're going to take that 26th and 27th. And then on February 4th and 5th is Brian Poor's Premier Rifle Academy Course 2. If you've taken his first, you can take this. This is the advanced one that you were talking about, Brian, where he goes from 400 to 800 yards. And multiple locations and get your heart rate running and teaches you shooting under pressure, pick target identification, drops, windage. This is the great one.
And it's all with bolt guns.
Yeah. Well, you can bring you could bring an AR, you know, like.
But it's primarily designed for hunters.
It is.
Yeah. It's not a tactical course. It's mostly a hunting type course.
It's a little bit of both because on that long range shooting, you really are talking
right.
some tactical
issues
and controlling your scope and your drops. But it is, and it's at Burro Canyon. So that's the 4th and 5th, and go to premierrifleacademy.com for more information on that. So that's all we're doing in the next month. How about you?
You're going to all those, right?
I go to everything every day. Well, one of the other things that I've been doing, gone out a couple times now, is I've been doing some local predator hunting. And I met this guy named Brian, who runs this company called Southern California Guided Hunts, or SoCal Guided Hunts.
SoCal Guided Hunts.
And because we don't want to put down occupied California, it just ruins the whole thing.
Yeah.
SoCal Guided Hunts, and he's been running a real neat little thing here where for an entire day he'll take them out, or half a day or whatever it is, locally chasing coyotes. And we have a ton of coyotes locally.
It's a great way for somebody who's getting started in the outdoor sports and in the hunting to learn about calling, setting up, going out.
Wind,
everything. And I just discovered him on Facebook. And so he's one of my Facebook friends on my Outdoor News Service Facebook page. Yep. And so these guys are doing a great service here in Southern California, and it's pretty cool. I'm excited about meeting him today. This was fun.
Yeah. Well, good to meet you too, Jim. But like you said, you know, it's all about getting the fundamentals down, your wind, your elevation. And with coyote hunting or predator hunting, period, we get quite a few of them in, you know, using calls, where if you deer hunt in Southern California,
good luck.
Yeah, good luck trying to get one.
Hey,
where predator hunting, we got a pretty good odds of calling you in one.
Well, you've got the deer population. I think I read at one time for D11 zone was 1 deer for every 1.5 square miles. I think we have a heck of a lot more coyotes than that.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, and you can hunt in Riverside County. You can hunt in San Bernardino County, LA County. There's lots of different areas that you can actually take off and shoot. You don't have to drive all the way to the Sierras for that.
Correct. Well, and that's the nice thing about, varmint hunting is that you just need a basic California hunting license. Depending on the area that we go, you may or may not need an additional, stamp. But other than that, I mean,
or a Bobcat stamp.
Yeah, you need a Bobcat stamp.
It'd be good to have one with you.
Yeah, always take one. Always bring a cat tag.
Okay, and we're going to be right back here on Firing Line Radio Show. During the break, go to Facebook and like Outdoor News Service for Jim Matthews, like Southern California Guide and Hunts for Brian over here, and like Firing Line Radio Show for us, so we can get you in on some good ideas. Again, this weekend, January 5th and 6th, that Ontario Gun Show is going to be packed. You wanted to be there at 9 o'clock in the morning, and bring a dolly so you can haul your ammo out. That's my number one trick for you. Folks, we'll be right back after this.
This is the Firing Line. This portion of the Firing Line is sponsored by Nemesis Arms, the makers of the Vanquish rifle. And now back to your host, Philip Naiman.
Hey folks, welcome back to Firing Line Radio Show. This is Philip Naiman, and again I'm joined in here with Jim Matthews and with Brian from Southern California Guided Hunts. Jim is with Outdoor News Services.
Yes, no S. Service, Outdoor News Service. Not that it matters. Nobody ever looks that up on the web anyway.
Well, if they did, what would the website be?
OutdoorNewsService.com.
Not services.
No S on
So what is it again?
Outdoor. You're messing with me now. He's messing with me.
I'm helping you now. You have to repeat it 3 or 4 times.
Outdoor News Service. Come on, all the shooters on this audience are much brighter than that. They've got it already.
Well, and if they didn't, they'd probably be over at SoCal.
They're all already checked by it on a regular basis anyway.
But hey, that's why we're linked up. So if they can't find you,
they can find
you through my page.
And what would that
vice
be?
Versa. SoCal Guided Hunts. .com.
SoCal what?
Guided Hunts.
Guided
Hunts with an S.
.com. How do you spell dot?
Oh.
All right, now I'm messing with you. So, folks, just go out there. We've got OutdoorNewsService.com and Brian over here at SoCalGuidedHunts.com. And look them up. They've got some great things going on there. And also, obviously, the Firing Line Radio Show Facebook page. Dianne Feinstein.
Oh.
I know it's a new year, and we don't really want to talk about ancient topics like Dianne Feinstein, but she's making more news again. And she came out with her new and improved assault weapons ban, which we all got a flavor of last week. Jim, what do you think about it?
This is a nice family show. I can't say what I think about it and her, but it's just more insanity from that crazy lunatic fringe that's in Congress.
Any specifics?
Oh, well, one, she's hypocritical. I mean, it's okay for her to have armed guards protect her, but she doesn't think that we should be able to have firearms in our home, and I think she would ban them all if she had her way.
She actually said that, and I have that link up on Firing Line Radio Show, where she said that Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in. If I had that in my power, you would do that. Okay? That's her words on our Facebook page. You know, you talk about the gun issue being safe and her having armed guards. How about Obama and his crowd criticizing Wayne LaPierre of the NRA, who said the only way to stop a bad man with a gun is a good guy with a gun. And maybe we should have armed people in schools. Okay? Now, he was criticized, all the whole liberal press just, whining and howling at the moon and gnashing of teeth about how could he ever say that. But the school that Obama's children go to, without his Secret Service details there, have 11 armed guards.
And you add that Secret Service detail. What are there, about another 20?
It's more than Fort Knox. But and I'm okay with that. I don't really mind. They should be protected, okay? They really should. But you can't take a political stance that says that, oh, what a bad idea, guns in schools, unless they're protecting my children. That's hypocrisy.
That's him
level.
Saying my children are more important than your children.
That's exactly it.
And that offends me a little bit.
You're just in flyover country, Jim.
That's right. We don't count as much.
You're a red state kind of guy.
Yeah. It's kind of sad. I mean, I think that the whole idea of having guards at schools is not a bad idea. I think the NRA hit the nail on the head with this one.
I'll second that.
I have a better idea. I say we take our retired police officers, instead of letting them leave the service at 53, we make them high school teachers. 53 to 62. Man, that'd be the best run high school I could imagine.
Plus, they'd be getting a more of a redneck education instead of this liberal education they're going to get.
Can you imagine if a local high school had 45 retired police officers on staff as instructors?
Well, plus there'd be a lot of kids getting whippings.
I would just say that, not the whippings, but there wouldn't be a whole lot of lies that could be told and believed, right? That kind of street experience, that's a beautiful thing. Okay, so her plan came out for taxing every firearm for $200. And I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. I thought, it's Jim's head on the microphone. I thought that they were going to try and use taxing to destroy because that's an easy thing for them to do. And now, our rights, and the Second Amendment is a right of ours given by God, codified in the U.S. Constitution. That's the way it's written. States that we have the ability to own these firearms against tyrannical purposes. But to be taxed in order to exercise my right, that would fall in the same line as a poll tax. It would fall in the same line of taxing a religion. Both of those are illegal. So I really think that we need to have somebody take an avenue that you can't tax firearm ownership for the sake of taxing it, because the power to tax, since this is a Supreme Court decision with Marshall, the power to tax is the power to destroy. And so I think there's an angle there that we really need to explore about that and putting that portion to rest.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. There's been efforts.
I'm brilliant. Just wait.
Well, that's what we've heard. Yeah, we're finding that out on this show that Phil is brilliant.
That's what you heard.
I just thought it was a rumor, but he's actually a pretty sharp guy.
And you're correct.
That's an off-camera or off-air joke, folks. Yeah, there you go.
Hey, listeners know better than that. So she came out with a whole huge list, which would make everything illegal from your Colt 1911 through almost any semi-automatic functioning rifle that you can think of, or shotgun.
Or pistol.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing. Now, Eric Holder, he wrote a brief in the Heller case, and here's what you have to realize. This is who's going to be in charge of enforcing the laws. Okay? He is absolutely laxed in giving out high-powered weapons to the Mexican cartels in Fast and Furious, and there's been no prosecutions in that. But here's his idea about personal firearm ownership. He wrote this in the Heller versus D.C. case, which came down that individuals in the United States do have the individual right to keep and bear arms. Eric Holder wrote, this is from Red Flag News. Eric Holder wrote a brief in the Heller case supporting the position that you have no right to have a working firearm in your home. In making this determination, the bill says, there shall be a rebuttal presumption that a firearm procured for use by the United States military or any law enforcement agency is not particularly suitable for sporting purposes and shall not be determined to be particularly suitable for sporting purposes solely because the firearm is suitable for use in a sporting event. In plain English, that means any firearm ever obtained by federal officers or the military is not suitable to the public. You know who has this law? Mexico has this law.
There's no guns in Mexico.
Mexico has this exact law that Holder says. And so the only guns in Mexico are the ones Holder sent them. How's that worked out? What do we have? 60,000 dead people in Laredo, Juarez?
Yeah, the only people that have guns in Mexico are people that have them illegally. And then there's a handful of other firearms that he's a nightmare.
That we gave him.
Yeah, exactly.
We gave him. Right.
He gave them. We had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about sporting purposes. What he was specifically talking about here, and
that's not what the Second Amendment about. Is first thing. It has nothing to do with sport.
Absolutely. But Remington 700, military uses them all the time. Police officers, so that's not available for civilians. There's 5 million been sold to the United States public. 5 million Remington 700s out there.
Well, it depends on how far back you go. If you want to talk about lever action rifles, Savage manufactured its 99 for a couple of standing armies. So that would eliminate, under their definition, it would eliminate lever action rifles. 870s have been used. Pump shotguns have been
1897
used.
shotgun, World War I.
Right. 870s have been used many times.
03A3, 30-06.
That's right.
Mauser actions, the 1898 Mauser, for how many different militaries has that been their basic bolt rifle?
I mean, it would eliminate all that. And plus, I'm sure that they would interpret that to mean if it has a similar action, it's banned. In other words, any bolt action gun would be banned. Any semi-auto gun would be banned. Any pump action gun. I think they could even go after the lever guns because of the, some of the lever guns that were used in military
and
stuff.
The cavalry used them. The United States military did use lever guns at one time.
That's right.
Unbelievable. This is their action, and my fear over all of this. I mean, I see the irrationality on their side, and once again, this is feelings over facts. Okay, I just stated this. We had a interview with the San Bernardino Sun this week, and I talked to the reporter about this. I think that there are three groups in the gun control debate. There's a largest group, 85% of the people, roughly split into two. One section says, we believe in the Second Amendment and we want the right to defend ourselves. We'll take it upon ourselves. The other large section, about 40% of the population, says, we just want the killings to stop. We don't care how. Those two sections, which make up 85% of our population, their main focus is we want the murders to stop. They have two different ideas of how that happens. The third segment, which is where Eric Holder, Feinstein, Schumer, and all those other people, or Gavin Newsom, they take the political ploy of using crises to manage and further their political agendas. Dianne Feinstein, this bill that she's talking about, she came out and she said that this will save lives. This will stop things like Sandy Hook. She said that. Then in the same article, and here's my main thing that I am so incensed with her about, in the same article she says she'd had this legislation written for a year. So if she had legislation that would have saved those children and she failed to bring it up because she wanted to make sure Obama got reelected and she was waiting for the right time, I find her complacent, involved, participating in, because she allowed it to happen if she felt it was truly in her power to stop it. By this legislation, she withheld it for the correct political time that she could spin out and get the most traction for it. Yes, no?
True.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She's a disaster. There's no doubt about that. I mean, and plus she's wrong.
And we'll be right back here on that word from Jim on the firing line after this.
This is The Firing Line. This portion of The Firing Line is sponsored by Bullseye Sports in Riverside. And now back to your host, Philip Naiman.
Well, I won't back down.
Folks, welcome back to Firing Line Radio Show. We just finished that last segment there, lambasting Dianne Feinstein for claiming to have the ability to stop these massacres, yet waiting on the legislation until the right moment, like after a massacre. I find that morally repugnant. And Jim, you had a few ideas.
Well, you know, I did quite a bit of research earlier this year after some of the other massacres that have happened in the last year or so, and a lot of those were. It's interesting, you know. Firearms are used in these things, but they're a tool. I mean, Timothy McVeigh used a truckload of fertilizer to blow up the building in Oklahoma and killed more people. And so it's not the implement.
169.
Yeah. It's not the implement. It's what's in somebody's heart.
So basically, if you had a motto, it'd be like, "It's the criminals, stupid."
Yeah, something. The other thing that people like Feinstein are afraid to touch because the media is complicit with this is that video games, movies, all of the violent stuff that young people, especially unstable young people that don't get out in the field and hunt, and don't get to target shoot, and don't spend any time out of doors, or don't have a normal life. We have a lot of problems in this country today, and those people see this violent material, and they imitate it a lot. I just did a story for Shooting Sports Retailer about this stuff, and virtually all of the studies that have been done, all of the scientific studies show that the real factor behind that, behind a lot of this violence, is that these twisted minds are fed this stuff on big screen TV, on video games, and daily in the media. I was talking to a guy that owns the gun store of that incident in the Midwest, and where the firearm was bought. And he said, this guy didn't send off any bells to us. And he said, we work with these people all the time. And he said, yet, we find out later that this guy is absolutely a crazy person, and he was able to disguise it. Obviously, the Sandy Hook guy shouldn't have been able to get those firearms, and his mother was trying to get him put away.
Well, he stole them.
Yeah, this is a mental health thing. It's not about the implement. I mean, if someone has that kind of terror in their heart, they're going to do this. And so, the politicians like Feinstein that use this to their political gain just make me a little sick to my stomach. And I think that the media is a little complicit in this, because if we start talking about, restricting video games and trying to remove violence from that, that's a slippery slope for them, because that's right there with the First Amendment.
That's their revenue, yeah.
And not only is it their revenue, but it's also, now we're talking about restrictions on speech.
But all they focus on, every time I've run into a liberal or a progressive who's adamant about something, they're getting paid by it. They are all about the money. They make big cries about social justice, but if they weren't being paid somehow for that, they wouldn't be there. On our Facebook page, exactly what you're talking about, this media the guys came out and they did this big commercial. The guys, a bunch of actors, half of them I've never seen before, came out and did this big thing about make the plan. They're talking about this assault weapons ban plan. Have you seen that commercial?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
If you go to our Facebook page, I have the clean version of it up there. And it shows each of the actors, like Chris Rock, saying, man, we don't need these assault weapons. And then it shows him in his movies using them. Shooting a police officer, I believe, was his clip. Jamie Foxx out there screaming about how bad these things are. And then here he is using machine guns and multiple weapons, as did Django, picking people off in cold blood. These guys, they are so corrupt as far as the hypocritical levels. I mean, it's not corrupt. It's massively insane. How can you be screaming about one thing when they're getting paid to do it on the other hand?
Yeah, it's just hypocrisy. The Weinstein, one of the producers of some of the most violent some of the most violent movies ever made.
Yeah.
After one of the previous massacres, he said, it's time for us to sit down and start talking about this among ourselves. And then he went right off that to the gun control thing, because he realized that he'd open up a can of worms here and he didn't want to talk about it anymore. That's the only time I've ever seen anything in the media where they quoted him on that, and then it just immediately fell away. Nobody wants to talk about,
because it affects the money flow.
That's right,
and that's what they're about. Let's talk a little bit about your media group here, Jim. Outdoor News Service. What is it that you're doing?
Well, I've been an outdoor writer in Southern California for 30 plus years.
I was getting upset. I have to change.
Let's change the subject.
For my mental health,
let's change the subject.
I need to quit talking about damn.
Let's talk about varmint hunting and getting outdoors and doing good things. Yeah, good things. I like I said, I've been an outdoor writer here for 30 plus years, and I get to do the fun stuff every week. I write about hunting and fishing and the outdoor sports. Unfortunately, too much of this stuff comes up with like Feinstein and whatnot, so I have to jump up on soapboxes just like you do periodically and try to deliver a little bit of the other side from what little space I have in the local newspapers. And a lot of times that stuff doesn't get in our local newspapers because, that's kind of against what they believe in.
I'm well aware of that.
I'll be really anxious to see the story that you're talking about in the Sun that you did the interview for. How we're portrayed in that. I've worked for that paper, like I said, for over 30 years, and it's always been kind of a sore spot with me. I'm kind of a fringe guy there. I'm one of the few people that have been there for years. That a lot of the people that work there, one of the guys used to call me gun toter, and he was seriously afraid of me. He thought I would come in there when he did a bad edit, and just shoot him up. And
whatever it takes, keep him in line.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought about it too. But it at some level, they don't understand. And it's one of the. I wrote a funny thing the other day about one of the guys who's been at this paper a long time is a dear friend of mine, and we were out having breakfast the other day, and I had one of my quail calls that I'd been making for Christmas presents, and I took it in and I showed.
You're also quite a woodworker.
Well, I showed him what I was doing. Well, thank you, I appreciate that. But I showed him what I was doing, and he's getting deaf like I am. And I showed him one of the calls, and he looks at it and he looks at the nice woodworking on it, and he says, hey, his face is looking just pained and contorted, and I'm telling him that I sold a bunch of these and we use them all the time, and he gave it back to me.
What do they sound like?
Yeah. Well, anyway, it was really funny. Finally, he's got this pained look on his face, and he blurts out, he says, "What'd you say that was again?" And I said, "It's a quail call." And he said, oh, his face relaxed. He says, "I'm so glad." He says, "I thought you said whale call." Can you imagine all the stuff that was going through his head thinking about us? They're so out of touch with what we do in the outdoors.
He's thinking whales.
He's thinking, first off, what kind of people are buying whale calls? What do they do with a whale when they call one in?
We park it in front of Barbara Streisand's house.
That's such a simple thing. No wonder his head looked like it was about to explode. He didn't know anything about what we do. It was a riot. I had a good time with him that day. I'll tell you that.
A whale call.
A whale call. Yeah. So I had to write about that in my column. But Yeah, and like I say, I've covered this political stuff for years, and I'm like you. It's just getting to the point where, one, there's never a fact in any of this information.
No, and like you said, this guy was so out of touch with it. Some of the writing.
And this is a guy that actually knew more than the average Joe in the media, because one, he's read my stuff for 30 years, so he knows me and he knows this stuff. But he knows some of the. Well, let's be honest. Predator calling. We've got a great guest here talking about calling predators. That's where, let me just describe it for the folks that may not be.
Put some pictures to it.
Yeah, predator hunters. This is where you go into the field, dressed to look like a bush, smell like a skunk, and sound like a dying rabbit.
So basically, you're an Occupy Wall Street person.
Well, and you think about that, for a person that's not an outdoorsman and just doesn't get it, that in itself, though, they look at you when you're dressed and doing all this stuff, they think, that's a strange bunch of people.
But I could take your quail call, probably calling a coyote with it.
Oh, I use them all the time for that.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes a great, bad, ugly noise.
Can you do?
Yep, right there. I mean,
folks,
it would work.
just for the PETA people listening, I did not do anything to a quail to make that happen.
No,
that was Jim.
No, and there was no. What do they always put on the thing? No animals were injured in the recording of this. No, that'll be later.
Well, you talk about their lack of knowledge, and there's one thing more to touch on the gun control. They keep talking about these bad semi-automatic pistols that every time you pull the trigger, a gun goes off. Okay, this is their big complaint, and that's why semi-autos are bad, and that's why you should shoot a revolver. Well, folks, this just shows the lack of understanding of firearms. A revolver, let's say a 1950s police revolver that LAPD carried, the Model 19 or Model 10, 38 Special, you pick it up, you pull the trigger, it's called the double action. As you pull the trigger back, the hammer comes back and the cylinder revolves. It brings a fresh cartridge underneath the firing pin. When the hammer comes all the way, had it right the first time. Trigger comes all the way back, the hammer falls, the gun fires. Then you release your finger, pull it back again, and the same thing happens. Every time you pull the trigger on the double action revolver,
it's a semi-auto.
Exactly.
Yep.
And so their arguments are specious. They because guns are black or they're semi-auto, they think that they're bad. But these have existed for 100 years. Over 100 years for a double action revolver.
Well, and I know your favorite varmint rifle happens to be one of those semi-automatic ugly rifles too.
Oh, yeah, it's not ugly,
but
it's actually pretty cool.
Black.
It's hydrocoded.
It's hydrodip. Yeah, it's not black. But
it's that looking like a bush.
You're right. It is looking like a bush. But if you want to classify it as automatic and it being black,
semi-automatic,
it's semi-automatic. Yeah,
and we're going to talk about his favorite varmint rifle, coming back here with Brian from SoCal Hunts and Jim Matthews. This is Philip Naiman from Firing Line Radio Show. Go to our Facebook page, Firing Line Radio Show, like it, and we've got some surprises for you. There. We'll be right back after this.
This is The Firing Line. This portion of The Firing Line is brought to you by Andrew Phillips Financial Services, Redlands, and Blue Dot Safes. Now, Philip Naiman.
Brought to you courtesy of the red, white, and blue.
Hey folks, welcome back again on a wonderful Saturday afternoon here, and you're probably just leaving the Ontario Gun Show with 16 crates of 223 ammo. Brian, you were talking a little bit about the internet sales of firearms, ammunition, and so forth that you heard about this week. They have 3 semi-trucks of ammunition for the one company brought out for the Ontario Crossroads Gun Show. 3 semi-trucks.
I wonder if they pre-ordered it like months ago, because everywhere around here, Southern California, all those places everybody's sold out of 223 ammo, 9mm 40. All that stuff's gone.
What about guns? You walk in there, there's a rather large international shop here in the Rancho area, and I could not believe how few things they had. I guess if you want selection and you want somebody to be able to get you something, you need to go to see Vince at Bullseye Sports, because he can still wrap it up for you. But those big box stores, they're useless.
Yeah, or else some of the places where I picked up some of my stuff is the CaliforniaGunTrader.com.
No, you mean Vince at Bullseye Sports.
Yes, I understand, but you can pick
up
used
Vince at Bullseye Sports. He'll order for you.
Okay.
Some of us just buy lots of bullets and reload our own.
Yeah.
Reloading is a great thing. We're actually going to do a show coming up. We did a little bit on metallic reloading in the past, but I want to get more into it and have a master reloader from the NRA come out and bore you to tears on that one.
I'm not sure 3 semi-trucks will be enough
That was one of the companies. That was one of the vendors.
Well, but I'm just saying they'll be gone. They'll be out of ammo by noon, don't you think? On Saturday before your show, they'll be out of ammo before the show starts.
That's the way I started this segment.
Hey, do you have fast passes to get us to the front of the line?
I do.
That'd be fun, While everybody else is waiting in the line, we get a cut to the front of the line.
That's right. We gave out 24 tickets to the gun show for people who liked the Facebook page, and the tickets are at will call. And
we need to edit this so we can just say that they're already out of ammo because this show airs at 1 o'clock. I'm sorry, I forget that we do some pre-recording.
Yeah,
I didn't. We're taken care of. So 1 o'clock is when the show came on, but your stuff's at will call, and life will be great. We had 24 people going out there. Let's talk more about predator hunting. Sitting like a vegan, dressing up like a bush, making sounds of a dead cat.
There you go. Thank you, sir.
Jim does not leave home without that.
Yeah, I know, huh? I should have brought mine in, but it's all good.
That's one's enough. One per studio.
Yeah, so we wake up early morning too. We're out in the field before sunup. So there you go. That was a good one.
Then no animals were harmed in the filming of this segment.
Yeah, so we wake up early morning, head out before sun's up. We sit down. We call them sets. We'll do about 30-minute sets, and I use a digital game call now. I've switched over to going electronic. Got a decoy that...
You get less headaches that way, huh? Instead of blowing for 20 minutes, that's a long day.
Yes, it can be very long, but it's nice for when I take people out. Is ultimately what I'm going to be doing is videoing your hunt while you go out. So that way you got memories of that hunt, taking you out, calling in your first coyote, and now you've got that. Where a lot of people, it's all hearsay. Oh yeah, I called it in or I done it. Now I have a video for you. So that's why I want to get away from using a mouth call. But all fells, I was out 3 days ago and electronic call, battery died in the middle of a set, so I had no option but to go mouth call. So you need to know.
That's a great thing about electronics is they do fail.
Yeah, right when you need it to,
Yeah. Well, that's hunting. Things happen. So somebody gets a hold of you through SoCalGuidedHunts.com.
Or on SoCal Guided Hunts on Facebook.
They click in, say, hey, I want to go coyote hunting.
Yep.
You call them up, you book the day. What's a typical day with you?
Day with me is $150. Full day, about 8 hours. I'll provide a sack-type lunch for you, drinks.
Transportation,
because I've got the tags.
Well, you're going broke.
Hey, it's more about me getting out and me having fun than me making a bunch of money. I want to take people out and have fun. Like
$150 for an 8-hour day is extremely, extremely reasonable. Extremely.
I can't make one of my calls for that.
I love hunting. I'm here because that's what I like doing.
I'm talking to the people out there, not you. This is a deal, guys. If you're wondering what the next deal is, we're going to get you. You got the Blue Dot saves, right? We got the Facebook passes. This is it. Jump on this one.
This is the red light special.
I'm telling you. And this is the best time of year. You've got January, February, March are the best times to hunt coyotes. They're extremely active when it gets cold, and they're all over the place. And every time you shoot a coyote, all right, every time you shoot a coyote, you save 312 fawns, 1,406 rabbits, 62 coveys of quail, and
that's scientific data he's spewing there.
Probably some endangered species too.
Don't forget about the local cat and dog.
Oh, that's right.
I do.
You saved the stuffed puppies.
That one?
Well, you didn't save that one.
Trying to get away.
That was too late for that one. Yeah, everybody's pets. I mean, coyotes, think about it. They are predators. 24/7, they are hunting and eating something that was living. And if you've ever seen a coyote attack, they're not exactly nice. They eat things while they're still alive. So,
no, you posted up that video of
that big deer, yeah. On my Facebook page, there's a big deer taken down by 2 coyotes, and they just... they're eating him while he's still alive. They don't care.
No.
We had a situation at Griffith Park a few years back, well, about 12 years ago. Coyote population was so large that they were coming in the daytime to the barbecues, pulling hot dogs off the grills while the barbecue's on, and the people are still there. And it wasn't until they grabbed an 18-month-old baby and drug it into the woods to eat it that finally depredation tags were issued. That was a fun night, by the way. But they are great predators. They are super, super smart. Their sense of smell, Brian, I mean, it's something that's uncanny.
Yeah, we really watch wind direction when we're out, wind speed, because your scent just carries you don't even need to wear deodorant, nothing like that. Don't smoke, because all that stuff carries for long distances, and they'll pick it up. And that's why you need to be really cautious the morning before you go out. I don't take a shower because I don't need to smell all fruity when I go out. Coyote hunting.
What are you showering with?
Well,
maybe that's another show. I don't know.
But what I'm saying, is that most people, they don't
just got to pay attention to wind direction.
Yeah, they don't pay attention.
Yeah, and it's huge with coyotes. And I've watched coyotes where you've walked through an area, so you're just your foot traffic. You're upwind of them, but they're jogging through the area. They cross where you walked, and their head whips around, and they come back and they smell. Okay, there's a man over here. They can smell where your feet went through 30 minutes ago. I mean, they're the best bloodhounds, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I called one in a week ago, and he was coming in dead run, and he circled around and caught the wind downwind of me, just to the right of me, and he stopped. And as soon as he turned around, I knew he was gone. I'd say either I got a shot now, or else I might as well just pack up my bags and move to a different set.
They are, talking about, from a hunting standpoint, I think coyotes are kind of like the new national big game animal. I mean, because they truly are. They're an incredible game animal. They're cagey. They're fun to hunt. There's everywhere. Lots of them. It's amazing,
and they're not hard. They're not easy to hit.
Oh no, and Brian's experienced, and I've called coyotes since I was fairly young, and I got to tell you something. It's one of those things that if you're a novice, it's going to take you a while to get the hang of it. That's why going with a guy like Brian for only $150.
Come on, guys,
is a great learning experience. You'll pick up more in one trip, and it'll be a lifetime deal because you'll never give it up. I mean, it's addicting.
So it is.
The adrenaline rush of that, like we were talking in the first segment about shooting and learning to shoot with that adrenaline rush. Coyote hunting is a great way to do that.
And you think about it, the electronic call you have out there is $400 something, isn't it?
Yeah, like $3.
Well, okay, 400. Yeah. California tax. So for the day, you can't even buy the call.
No,
for a full day. So it's a great deal. I hope people take advantage of that for you, because I went out twice. I've had a great time. We've seen dogs. We've been all over the place and learned some new country. So it's great. I think you should go out there.
How many non-hunters do you have listened to your show? A few, mostly. I mean, just recreational shooters.
We have some of everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me just just to talk to that group for a second. I happen to live in North San Bernardino, and I call right by my house where you can't legally shoot or hunt. And I have a blast just calling them in and trying to photograph them. And it is a great way to learn the sport. And for people that, don't care about shooting them, it's still a blast.
It's fun seeing them because you're sitting down in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing going on.
What's your favorite?
And here come one running.
What's your favorite varmint rig? Let's get to that real quick, because we mentioned it earlier.
I custom built a 243 WSSM in an AR-15 platform.
And so this is the bad black rifle.
Yes.
But it's not black. Tell us about it. Pick it up. Of course, we would never have a firearm in the studio, but if we did, and if you were holding it, what would it look like?
The barrel is made by Accuracy Systems International. It's all hydro dip.
Shoots about a quarter minute of angle. This thing will take a 115 grain 243 caliber bullet made by Berger and push it about 3,100 feet a second. Extremely accurate. It holds what? You can get a magazine for 10 rounds with this, and off of an AR basic platform, not even the 308 size. Right?
Yes. 10-round mag is all you're going to get. That's all you can have. But legally hunting, you can only have 5 round.
Right.
So if you're coming out with me and if you got something like that, make sure you only have a 5 round.
That's right. Great gun, very, very accurate. Brian knows what he's talking about. And guys, thanks for the show. Unfortunately, we're running out of time again.
Thanks for having us.
Had a great time.
It's a great show. We appreciate being here.
And we'll be back next week on Firing Line Radio Show. Enjoy the rest of the gun show.
The Firing Line was sponsored by Bullseye Sports in Riverside, Nemesis Arms, the makers of the Vanquish Rifle, Andrew Phillips Financial Services Redlands, and Blue Dot Safes.